Hey, what's up, guys? This is episode 25 of Speaking Wrestling with Elvis Arroyo, and I'm your host, Elvis Arroyo. And this week we are speaking SmackDown on Fox, Hell in a Cell, Raw from last night. Going to give you guys what to watch. Also going to give you guys my MVPs and floppers of the week, so stick around for that. But before we get started, guys, I want to give you guys a reminder to head on over to our YouTube page, hit subscribe. Also follow us on Twitter at Speaking Wrestle and over on Instagram at Speaking Wrestling. All right, guys. Welcome back to the show, guys. And if this is your first time joining me, welcome to the show. So nice to have you guys here. And this is episode 25, man. 25 episodes and we made it here. We're here. All right, guys. So let's get into it. We got lots to talk about, but I'm going to try to cram it all in less than half an hour for you guys. So get on out and get on with your life. All right, so let's start with SmackDown Live last week on Fox. Oh, can't call it SmackDown Live anymore. It's SmackDown on Fox, making its major premiere. It was unbelievable. I enjoyed it. I will make a comment on one part that I did not like. Of course, we'll get to that. But this show was amazing. I mean, from the very beginning of this show, you saw the new entrants. They were live in Los Angeles and Staples Center. Great audience. LA is always a great crowd. And the set looked amazing. I mean, it's totally not what I expected. It's a little bit of an ode to the past and to the future. And I like that a lot. I really like the setup. It's interesting. I can't wait to see how they set that large of a setup in other arenas. Are they going to tone it down on some areas, and will you be able to notice it? I mean, it may be just me. I look for all like the little tiny details that WWE does. Their lighting, their presentation, the arenas. I'm all into that stuff. Let me know if you guys are too over on Twitter. If you guys pay attention to the details when you guys watch a professional wrestling promotion. Anyways, SmackDown, their big debut on Fox. And of course, there's no better way to start off your biggest show on Fox than with your biggest superstar at the moment, and that is Becky Lynch, the man, WWE's women's champion. And Becky, I gotta say, she looked great. I mean, for an audience that's maybe getting to see Becky for the first time, this is amazing. You want to start off with your hottest superstar, Becky Lynch, and accompanying her, you put out there possibly the most hated heel in the company with real heat, and that's Baron Corbin again. But I kind of think that I would like to go with someone else besides Baron Corbin. I think Baron Corbin is a great superstar, and he's a tremendous heel. Like I said, he's got real heat. But I think in a moment like this, you want a superstar and a heel that can captivate the audience, and that has more of a star power than Baron Corbin. No doubt that Baron Corbin will be a star for this company in a very upcoming future, but I think you needed a heel that's more believable. Who? I don't know at the moment, because WWE right now has a lack of major stars in their company. I mean, you have your Becky, you have your Rollins, you have your Reigns, and pretty much from there, it stops there. I mean, you have Charlotte Flair, of course. And it pretty much stops there, and then you get to Brock and Ronda, but I mean, they're not really viewed as professional wrestlers to the wrestling industry, the wrestling audience, us, the casuals. And seeing that we are in Hollywood, out comes The Rock, joining Becky Lynch and Baron Corbin out there. And Rock got a great reaction. He always gets a great reaction. He has such a great connection with the audience. And again, the LA crowd loves The Rock. They love seeing a big movie star here on the premiere on Fox. So good for them. I know the Fox executives love the fact that the biggest movie star in the world is now on their biggest show, on their premiere episode. So this is great. They had a great promo back to back, but I gotta say, guys, it went a little bit too long. And if you know Rock's promos, I gotta say, since he's come back since 2011, he goes on, and he will go on and on and on. And sometimes it seems like he forgets his lines. But the Rock, always entertaining. Becky, accompanying him with the lines as they just trashed Baron Corbin down. I thought it was great. Great open. Baron Corbin takes the people's elbow, takes a rock bottom. But I believe how long that opening promo went may have affected the way the show went going forward, because there was a pace to this show. I mean, going into the show, they promoted a women's tag team match. They've promoted a ladder match between Shane and Kevin Owens. They've also promoted Roman Reigns taking on Rowan, and also Kofi Kingston defending the WWE Championship against Brock Lesnar. So 4 matches going into it, 2-hour show, and then they start slipping in some other matches that weren't advertised, and I'm looking at the clock the entire show thinking, we still got Undertaker, we still have Stone Cold, we still have all this to go. I'm sure there's going to be a long, lengthy promo in the middle of the show. We still haven't even got to the ladder match. I was already guessing that the last match was going to come down to the maybe 5 minutes of the show, which, of course, that means that they're going to get out of the match really quickly. And, of course, we're getting to that. The pace of the show seemed like they were trying to cram so much in 2 hours. And in a way, I like that, but again, when you think about the matches that have been advertised and you start thinking that they're not going to get the quality time that they might get, whether it's a regular SmackDown and not a premiere SmackDown like this one was, or on a pay-per-view scale, the time and story you would be able to tell. And I think the match that suffered the most from that was the ladder match between Shane and Kevin Owens. I mean, this was, the end all to this big long saga that you and I have been following on this show. It's been coming down for months, and I think if this is the big blow off, which I do believe, but again, Shane McMahon, where else is Shane McMahon going to go? Don't want him going to NXT. Please don't go to NXT. Maybe go to AEW and ruin that show. I'm just saying. But I do think that this match suffered the most from the timing because they were really, working a pace of getting into the next spot. Shane, Kevin weren't so much worried about selling. I think they did light moves that were more striking moves than big moves, other than, the coast to coast and, pop-up power bombs and all that stuff. But it was a great match nonetheless. I enjoyed this. It's a ladder match. There were some moments where they set up spots, and that's one thing that just grinds my gear about ladder matches. It's when the focus of climbing the ladder and obtaining whatever is hanging up in the balance is, not as important as setting up ladders and tables and all that stuff. Again, pacing of the show went really quick. There was also an 8-man tag that was, I think pretty much just designed to get the ending of the match, which we saw Braun Strowman throw Dolph Ziggler into Tyson Fury, who is the boxing world heavyweight champion. And, caused Tyson to get up and feel a little bit felt that Braun did that intentionally, maybe to stir up something, and Tyson took it upon himself to go over the guardrail. And I like this a lot. Right away, no hesitation, WWE security, arena security jumps up at the moment that Tyson gets over that guardrail. And I like that, to show the realism that it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're a celebrity or fan, you're not getting through. And also, this really, plays to the fact that maybe this was not, scripted. It had that real factor element to it, and I think that's why it did come off as great as it did on television. And look, Tyson Fury, this guy's a character within himself. I mean, look at what he was wearing. He was wearing a sports jacket like Miami Vice style, with no shirt under, and he had a gold chain. The guy is a walking, living character, and I think he fits great with WWE. I think this is a great get for the WWE, and he's someone that is engaged with the style of the business. He knows that this is entertainment. He's an entertainer. He's no stranger to Staples Center. I mean, he had his biggest fight at Staples Center, so he's no stranger to, the bright lights, the big city, pressure's on. And look, the pressure was on in this moment, and it was given to him. He'll be making an appearance on Monday Night Raw, which we're going to get into, guys, but we're on SmackDown. I like this segment a lot. I mean, whether it was a throwaway 8-man tag just to get this segment, and look, I know it might irk some wrestling fans to think, here we go again. They're bringing in someone from the outside, and a lot of the attention and money is going to go to them and not the talent you got already. I got that. And I know that there's this lack of superstars, like I mentioned. So how are you going to build the superstars that you already have if you're so busy building up superstars or these characters that aren't in the wrestling realm? but you got to think of the importance of bringing in someone like Tyson Fury, who's got all eyes on him at the moment. He's a very trending fellow at the moment in sports and in entertainment. Bring him in and get some more eyes. This was strictly to get more eyes on the WWE, to show that they are more than just a professional wrestling and entertainment promotion, and that they dabble in every once in a while with mainstream stars. And this is no different than what they did a few years ago, or a decade ago, with Big Show and Floyd Mayweather. And that brought a lot of attention. And whether that, brought attention just to see that bout, but I do think it brought attention to the wrestling business. And hey, what's going on over here? This seems to be booming. Hey, this seems to be like something that, I can get interested in. Hey, I'm a fan of combat fighting. I'm a fan of boxing, MMA. What's this going on? A lot of MMA fighters are here. And just showing, like, in the main event of this premiere SmackDown, you had former UFC World Heavyweight Champion Brock Lesnar challenging Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship, and what was the most predictable finish, but at the same time the most controversial finish coming out of this. Kofi Kingston only got, he got no offense in this match, as he went up against Brock Lesnar, got caught in an F5, and 1, 2, 3, your new WWE champion. I mean, there's not much to go into this match, because there's not much to talk about this match, other than the fact whether you want to look at it that Kofi got screwed, or putting the belt on Brock Lesnar was good for business. And I like to take both sides. I know that social media and everybody's still reacting over the fact that Kofi got done wrong. And I don't like that. I think right now, of course, that's the spark of the social media climate that we live in, that, if someone you feel like you're wrong or it's not your way, then you complain about it. And in this case, Kofi losing to a very credible challenger like Brock Lesnar on one move, I think is validating. And I think it really validates Kofi and it validates Brock. I don't think no one came out of this, with any negativity. I mean, if you want to look at it in the way that Kofi Kingston got done wrong, or there's some racism play at here, I think you're not getting it, and I think you might not be watching wrestling the way that it should be. And look, I might be speaking wrong about that. It's everyone's entitled to their opinion, just as am I. Although it can't always be when someone loses that they got screwed or you're getting screwed out of this. I mean, look, so many people want to say that Kofi deserved better. Hey, last pay-per-view, Kofi Kingston walked out to nothing. I mean, nothing. I mean, go back and watch it on the WWE Network if you like. Kofi Kingston came out for his match at Clash of Champions to crickets. And a month later, he loses the title, and everybody's just up in arms that he deserved to keep the title. Hey, nobody cared to catch any more of those pancakes when he walked out every single Friday. I mean, every single SmackDown Live. And again, you've got to think about who beat Kofi Kingston. Brock Lesnar. It's Brock Lesnar. It's the man who beat the streak. It's the man that took John Cena's dignity away and ran him off to Hollywood. It's the man that's conquered every single member of the Shield. It's Brock Lesnar. It's Brock Lesnar. I mean, hey, I can even throw one more for you. It's the man that conquered CM Punk. Ooh, that kind of hurt some of you guys out there. Sorry about that. Actually, I'm not sorry about that, because it's Brock Lesnar. But the biggest news was not just the match and the outcome of the match. It's what happened after the match. And as Brock Lesnar was celebrating, once again, being the reigning, defended, undisputed WWE champion, out comes Rey Mysterio. But he's not alone. He comes with Dominic. He comes with former UFC World Heavyweight Champion Cain Velazquez. I mean, what a surprise. Cain Velazquez making his appearance here on the premiere episode of SmackDown on Fox. What a way to close out the show. This is the biggest event, the biggest show of the history of this business, and out comes Cain Velazquez as this mystery surprise for all of us wrestling fans. Can you get excited? You can't. You can't, right? You can't. Because how could you get excited about this? Look, I would have loved for SmackDown to just go off the show with Brock beating Kofi Kingston, or if not, let Kofi get in a few moves. I mean, initially, I thought that this match was going to go Kofi gets caught in a German, then gets caught in another German. When we start feeling the fact that, okay, this is not going to go its way, Suplex City, bitch, and all that, and then F5, 1, 2, 3, and at least Kofi showed some fight and some will and determination. Every time he took a German, he kept getting up. He kept getting up like the fighting champion that he was. At least go out that way, because there was some airtime after that match was over. I mean, the match was only 7 seconds, 8 seconds long, so you still had 5 minutes to fill of SmackDown on your premiere episode. And out comes Cain Velasquez, looking as only he could look, not in the best shape, not as impressive, but I think his resume speaks for itself. And if you are an MMA fan, which I am not, I follow it a little bit, a tiny bit. Like, I peek over and see what's going on and hear about what the match is for the night, but I really don't care about MMA. And apparently neither did everybody in Staples Center or those watching at home. Look, I think it's a good attempt for WWE once again to bring in outside talent to boost your ratings and to boost viewership. Of course, it's important to attract new audience, and with this new venture on Fox, you have a whole new audience that you're trying to reach and let them know that, hey, we cater to you too. And of course, us wrestling fans, we're going to show up. I mean, we're going to watch SmackDown. We're going to watch Hell in a Cell. Hell, all of us are subscribed to the network. And of course, we're going to watch Raw and AEW and so on and so on. So us wrestling fans, we are already conditioned to tune in and watch the show. This show on Fox, the very first episode, was to cater those fans and the new audience that has been getting promoted throughout this past month on Fox, throughout the baseball playoffs, throughout NFL Sunday, through the Thursday games, to watch SmackDown on October 4th. So I think that's my takeaway from SmackDown. All in all, it was an eventful night, and it is something to go back and watch. It is one of those episodes that, you go back and watch because it represented something, and it definitely did. It's a definitely new era in WWE and in the wrestling industry, because it really capped off the biggest week in the entire industry of sports entertainment, professional wrestling, however you want to call it. If it's inside a squared circle, we're talking about professional wrestling. All right, guys, let's get into Hell in a Cell really quickly. This is another event that only had 4 matches going into it, and social media was up in arms saying, there's only 4 matches. What the hell is going on? And then when WWE announces the matches to fill out the show, everyone complains about, well, that's not the matches that we want, and we don't want that. This is going to be a shit show. Then don't complain that there's only 4 matches, and when you get more matches, you complain that you got more matches. Anyways, this was an okay show. I'm not going to say it was the greatest show or the greatest pay-per-view, but it was an okay show, I guess. They were live from Sacramento at the Golden One Center, and great building. This building's been up for like 3 years, and it looks great, fantastic. And the folks here in Sacramento were in store for a great opening match to the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, which featured Becky Lynch defending the Raw Women's Championship against Sasha Banks. And I gotta say, guys, this was the match of the night. Once again, kudos to the ladies. This is the second pay-per-view in a row that Becky and Sasha stole the show, and I gotta believe that they should have gone on last. You got 2 Hell in a Cell matches, and you're gonna bookend the show with them. Have the girls go on last. Now, I know they're going to get into some shenanigans with the Fiend and Rollins, and of course, we'll get into that. Oh, yeah, we'll get into that. But this match was just incredible. I mean, when you want to rank some of these Hell in a Cell matches, I gotta say that this has got to be in my top 5, certainly in a top 10. It's got to be in your guys' top 10 of all-time Hell in a Cell matches, because this was great. There was so much action, and these two women did not hold back. They went all out. They used that cage to their advantage. They started off the match as the cage was lowering. They were outside, took a couple hits, and then came back in. They utilized the chain that locks the cage. They used all sides of the cage. They used steps, they used kendo sticks, they used tables, ladders. I mean, these women tore down the house. I mean, they tore down the house. And, moment of the match was when Becky Lynch did a running dropkick onto Sasha Banks as she was sitting on what was this chair that they had contrapted with kendo sticks. It's amazing. I mean, the creativity of this match was great. I think Sasha took the worst of it. She took a beating. I just kept thinking, like, man, she's taking all the hard hits in this match. And Becky, of course, she took some. Sasha got her offense, but man, this match to me felt like the main event, and we just got started with the show. So kudos to them. And, this show was okay. Like I said, there was only 4 matches going into it, but they filled out the show, and it was an okay show. You got Randy challenging Ali in what was a really good one-on-one match, and I really like this a lot. And Randy showed a lot more in his body language and his facials, that he was showing respect to Ali, because Ali was really bringing it. And you really got to give credit to Ali. He's young, and he's only really been in the WWE for several years. He's only been really on SmackDown for less than a year, and to go up against a veteran like Randy Orton and give it your all and not back down. I mean, he really showed Randy Orton that he's not intimidated by him. He's not intimidated by being in the ring and sharing that moment with Randy Orton. And I think Randy Orton found that out there in the ring, not finding that out through just building up this bond with him backstage. I think Randy really realized somewhere during this match that this kid really gets it. This kid really wants it. He's got to show him his respect. So I really like this match. Once again, anytime you see a Randy Orton match, guys, really pay attention. I know it's like Randy Orton, you've seen him 1,000 times. To some of you guys, it's like boring Randy Orton. But to me, guys, look, he's a veteran, and he's the last of a breed that we're not going to see anymore. So you really gotta appreciate the time that Randy Orton is giving us, because he's giving us a lot of knowledge from a veteran, and he's having matches with guys of this generation. So I always like that. I love that a lot. I love when there's this blur of the past with the new. I mean, sometimes I think about Charles Robinson, that guy's had a referee so many matches from so many different generations and promotions, and then now he's working with guys like Buddy Murphy and Ali, and you think he was in the ring back when it was Hogan and Flair in WCW. I mean even JR. I mean, think of the matches Jim Ross has called. He's called Steamboat and Flair. He's called Rock and Austin, Mankind, and The Undertaker. Now he's calling, matches with Kenny Omega and Pac and Hangman Adam Page. I mean, stuff like that to me, it boggles my mind, and it gets me excited and happy to know that this is so crazy. And being a lifelong fan, if you just stick with wrestling, you get so much out of it, and you understand a lot more as the years go by. So I like that. I know I went off on a tangent right there, guys. Again, this show also featured Chad Gable and Baron Corbin in another rematch, the third rematch. But again, these guys have good chemistry. I think this might have been, out of their 3 in the last several weeks, not the best one, because I think we've seen it, and I think their sloppiness was showing a little bit. But other than that, they had a great match once again. It seemed a little bit like the same ones they've had on Raw. And Charlotte challenging Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Charlotte going up for her 10th women's title reign, and she gets it. This was a great match, a little bit short, but I was not expecting Charlotte to win. I'm happy that she won. But I think Bayley really needed that title a little bit more. I mean, now she's just bare without it. But again, if this leads to a Bayley and Sasha either splitting up or staying together with the draft coming up, or them forming, this like vicious tandem that's going to be unstoppable. And no, they don't go after the tag titles. I mean, they just take over. All right, guys, and closing out the show was Hell in a Cell for the Universal Championship. Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, challenging the Universal Champion Seth Rollins in what was, to me, the worst Hell in a Cell match. I mean, there's been some worse out there. I mean, John Cena, Randy Orton. I think Sheamus, Randy Orton was bad. I mean, Seth and Dean was okay, but too many spots that you can tell were coming, and then the interruption of Bray at the end. I mean, you know what? I think Bray and the Hell in the Cell just aren't a good match. And I'm not talking about a match, you know what I mean, guys. Aren't a good pair. Look, the ending, we all know what happened at the end. Seth Rollins getting disqualified for hitting Bray Wyatt with a sledgehammer, amongst other things that were on top of Bray Wyatt: a ladder, a chair, and a toolbox. Yes, a toolbox. Yeah, weird. I wonder if there was a Tool album in there. But gosh, this ending was so bad. And I'm so happy that the Sacramento crowd let WWE hear them, because they're right there. The truck's right there. They're just right behind the curtain. And they're hearing that massive amount of boos just coming down on them. And of course, some AEW chants. Yeah, some AEW chants. That's how bad this was. And I mean, I kind of don't even want to talk about it. It just left a really bad taste in my mouth. And it, in a way, left a bad taste for everybody involved. Now, I kind of understand what they're trying to tell. In a way, as I was watching this, I kind of think they're tapping into, Seth Rollins subconsciously being affected by the torment that the Fiend has caused on him, and made him, go off the deep end and go off the rails, and which led him to use a sledgehammer and get himself disqualified, which of course was the referee's call. The referee did say, Seth, if you do this, I'm going to ring the bell. So to me, guys, if you really go back and watch it, it's all on the referee, but I mean, this is just a bad way to get out of this. And to me, I mean, like a month ago when this was being promoted that Bray was going to be going for the Universal title within only one appearance at SummerSlam, I just thought, this is bad. Why are you putting Bray on the top spot already? I think Bray this whole time should have been terrorizing not just legends, because in a way that kind of gets old, and you don't want his character to be where he takes out legends, and you don't want to be disrespectful to the legends, and maybe their last appearance on TV was getting mauled by the Fiend. But I gotta say, go after guys like No Way Jose. No Way Jose's in the back being happy, minding his own business, and No Way Jose at times is rude with his damn Congo line, always getting in the way and being so fucking loud. I mean, it'd be great for the Fiend to take out a No Way Jose 1 week. I mean, that'd be awesome. But having Bray be in the title scene right away against Seth Rollins, who as a champion and as a babyface has not been up to par with what a champion should be and handle himself. I mean, he's really coming up short with his promos and with the lack of a character. I mean, who really is Seth Rollins? I'm a fan of Seth Rollins. I love Seth Rollins. I mean, I feel like I'm always going to root for the guy, but I mean, you're the champ. You're untouchable. You need to, find that backbone within your body, or go ask Becky Lynch for your balls back, because you gotta step up and say, this is shit, we're not gonna do this, or let's not go with Bray now. I mean, fuck, Robert Roode defeated Seth Rollins a few weeks. Why not have a storyline where Robert Roode challenges Seth Rollins? You know what I mean? And have Dolph on the side and have that. Whether Rude and Rollins is inside a Hell in a Cell, I don't think it's deserving, but I think that should have been a good Hell in a Cell Universal Championship title match. And then you have Becky and Sasha close out the show like only those two can. And like they did. They opened up the show, and I still think that this should have been the closer of the show. But this ending to the show was just horrific. I mean, if they were going for that, exactly, horrific, this was a tragedy. This was a fucking tragedy for the WWE. And, you know, sometimes I feel like, I mean, maybe it's just me. Sometimes I feel like WWE does this on purpose to not get so far ahead now that there's competition. Maybe it's kind of like they like it to keep neck and neck. You don't want to run off throwing off big shows. But then again, how the fuck do you get out of this, man? I mean, I didn't like the booking of Bray challenging for the title, you know, after only defeating Finn Balor at SummerSlam. It didn't work. I didn't like this. I mean, the last time that Seth and Dean Ambrose were in that Hell in a Cell, the one that Bray interfered in, I remember thinking, like, this doesn't do anybody any well. And of course, you know, some things never change in WWE. But moving on to Raw, and this again was another throwaway show. I mean, we've got the draft coming up this week on SmackDown and also Raw the next week. So this was much more of a fill-in show. It was a televised live event for the people in Bakersfield, California. And I never got a chance to talk about last week's Raw. But again, that Raw really wasn't that much eventful. But the biggest event coming out of it was the Brock beating on Dominic and Rey and Lana and Lashley. Yeah, Lana and Lashley getting it on. And they were getting it on opening up this episode of Monday Night Raw. And I gotta say, guys, I like this. I'm a fan of this. Oh, I do. I love this stuff. I mean, hey, you guys wanted some Attitude Era stuff? Oh, WWE should go back to the Attitude Era, being like back in the good old days. Well, they're giving you Attitude Era stuff. And not only that, it's coming from a guy who was knee deep in the Attitude Era himself, Paul Heyman. Yeah. Remember when Paul Heyman was announced that he was going to be taking over Monday Night Raw, and we were all happy and jumping up and down that Raw is going to change and it's going to go back to ECW and the Attitude Era because it's led by Paul Heyman, Mr. Extreme himself? Well, here it is, folks. You're getting what you asked for. And of course, wrestling fans bitching. And again, guys, like I said, this Raw was a throwaway. They could not stop talking about their premiere on Fox, which again was a success. Nothing wrong with touting your own success. Not much of Hell in a Cell they talked about on this show. But of course, this show was really designed for the continuation story of what we talked about earlier, Braun Strowman and Tyson Fury. And Tyson Fury was in the house, and he was here to demand an apology from Braun Strowman off of what happened on SmackDown last week. Now, the question was, is Braun Strowman going to apologize? And witnessing from that pull-apart brawl we got this past Monday night with Braun Strowman and Tyson Fury, I don't think the big man likes to apologize. So, look, is this a pay-per-view match or Saudi down the road in Halloween? Who knows? But I'm a little bit interested in this. I mean, it hasn't been that bad. I mean, like, yes, when WWE brings in someone from the outside, you know, it's not always that great. I mean, seeing with Cain Velazquez on Friday Night SmackDown, you know, it really didn't seem like that Cain Velazquez has that entertainment side in his DNA, unlike a Tyson Fury, because Tyson got on the mic, and like I said, guys, he looks like a character. He's a star already. To hear him on the mic and to see him, you know, with Braun Strowman face to face, and you know, getting in there with all the other superstars as they pulled apart, I thought it was great. Like I said, he comes off as someone who is tailor-made for the WWE, and I just think it's a good fit. So whenever they decide to announce that this is going down, I'll be watching because I'm optimistic. And again, Tyson Fury is shown a lot of respect and appreciation for the wrestling business, and that's all you can ask for when someone from the outside is coming in. All right, guys, and with that being said, that was Monday Night Raw, and it's time for What to Watch. And with the impending draft on its way this Friday and next week on Raw, this week's What to Watch is this episode of SmackDown this Friday on Fox. All right, guys, and it's time for Performers and Floppers of the Week. This is where I give you guys my MVPs and those who flopped for the week. My MVPs for the week, I got to go with the ladies once again in the Hell in a Cell, Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. incredible match. That's one I'm going to go back and watch because I enjoyed it the first time. So that's my MVPs for the week. My floppers, this is just for who flopped this week, and I got to go with Seth Rollins and The Fiend. All of them dragged into this. I just think that there could have been a better way out, or just avoid this whole match in the first place, So that's my floppers of the week. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Speaking Wrestling. This is episode 25, and be sure to join me on episode 26 this Friday as I talk about AEW Dynamite and NXT, guys. All right, till this Friday, guys, enjoy the wrestling week. Have a good one, and we'll do it again. Bye-bye.